Hey everybody, I want to take a moment to give a special thanks to Miss Leslie Bankston here at Bankston Law Firm. She has opened up her beautiful office for us to use as a studio for the next few episodes. Mr. Otto Goodwin, thank you for coming, letting us in the building, showing us around, giving us amazing ideas of where to shoot from with the best lighting, the best camera angles. We appreciate it so much. If you or your family have any need for a law firm or prosecutor, land successions, any legal advice, please do not hesitate to come visit them over here at Bankston Law Firms in Albany, Louisiana. Again, from the bottom of our heart, God's Coffee Call thanks you so much.
Hey y'all, I'm your host, Brooke Pinchin. Welcome to God's Coffee Call, a place where there's always a fresh brewed conversation happening of personal testimony and life experiences. So grab a cup of coffee, pull a chair to the table, and join our conversation. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of God's Coffee Call. We are so excited today. I am here with a very special guest. I am Brooke, your host, and my guest today is Miss Taylor, the beautiful Miss Taylor. So sweet. I'm so ahonored for you to be here. Taylor's stepdad, Mitchell, was here a couple weeks ago with us, and your mom was here with us last week. And now we have you, and I'm so excited to hear your little story. I know she's a little nervous, but it's okay. So to let her settle in, I'm going to say thank you for joining us at God's Coffee Call. If you've not taken a moment to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share, please do that with us now. You help us grow. You help us share the stories of people that come here with us and tell their stories all over the world. So thank you. If you've liked and subscribed us, if you've not, it just takes a quick little second. Just push your button and that's it. That's what you do. So without further ado, let's talk to Miss Taylor. How are you today?
I'm good.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
It's okay. It's all right. You got a cute cup. You look cute. We're going to have a fun time. It's going to be good. So Taylor, let's start with when you were a baby.
Okay.
No, you don't remember that. Childhood. Tell me about your childhood growing up. What do you remember?
I remember that I mostly just played outside, and my mom, she was a single mom, and she worked really hard to provide for us. Even if she couldn't, she still got me everything that I needed.
Right.
And she would make me my favorite food every night.
Which was?
It was rolls. You know that pastelaya stuff, but it's like the angel hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, green beans, and I think corn.
Corn.
But that's it. But you have to mix the sweet corn and the regular corn.
Oh, yes. That's my favorite.
Yes.
I love to take a can of sweet corn and a can of whole corn and put it together. It's delicious. Do you remember, how old were you? Your mom and dad were married before you were born, and then they got a divorce. Do you remember the divorce, or were you too young?
I remember parts of it because I remember having to go to see my mom every so often. And then when I wasn't with my mom, I would cry to my dad about it because I missed my mom.
Got you.
But I remember parts of it. I just remember moving in and out of houses with him. And then I was with my mom, and we would move in and out of houses, but it was never like a stable situation with him.
Right.
But with my mom, she knew what to do, and she knew how to handle me, basically.
Got you. Yeah. And how about how old were you? Do you remember?
I think I was 2 when they divorced.
Got you. Okay.
And then 3 when everything was final.
Got you.
Or something like that.
And so you just bounced back and forth, but you always felt more steady with mom there being able, because she was more steady.
She was more steady, and she knew life.
She was mom.
Yeah.
She's a mom. Moms do that. When you have kids, we just kind of kick into mom mode there. So tell me about life with mom, when you were there. How was your relationship, besides her just fixing your favorite meals?
She was my go-to person. She was my best friend. And I knew that if I needed something, I would just go to her, and we would sit down and everything would be good.
Right.
Like I wouldn't have a bad day when I was with her because she would know how to like deal with what was going on because she was a girl and stuff like that. But my dad, he never really he was never really a lovable person.
Right. Okay.
And he still, like, if you ask me today, like, if I feel like he's there, I would say he's there in person, but not emotionally there.
Right. Okay. Even at a younger age, just you could feel the difference. And it's interesting that even at a young age that you can experience that difference. Your mom even shared last week that there was a moment that her mom introduced her to a guy and that she couldn't explain why. She just knew something was different. Something felt off about him. And not that with your dad, but as kids, how we don't have to wait till we're adults or teenagers where we can understand everything. You just can feel sometimes the situation just feels different. It feels good, bad, unstable, not stable kind of thing. Was there ever a moment that, because I remember growing up in a single parent life, like there were moments I had questions for my mom of like, well, why did you get a divorce and why couldn't you stay together? Like, why couldn't you make it work? Did you ever have those moments of like frustration or anger or anything in that regards of how come they couldn't stay together?
I do, and I still do to this day.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes go through episodes where I'm like, well, why couldn't you work it out just for me? Like why was it not good enough for me to be there too? I mean, they were perfectly fine before I came along.
Gotcha.
And then everything went downhill after me. And it was like, why? Like it kind of questioned, like, it still questions my self-worth at times because I'm like, why am I not good enough for y'all to still be together?
Right. So you took on the responsibility for the divorce.
Yes.
Which we know is not correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure we know that. Tell you that. And your mom sitting over there is probably going to screaming, it's not. Because, adults, and as you're all getting older and in a relationship, you understand there's different dynamics and stuff. But I can understand because my mom shared, like, they were together and both of them were doing not the right things, and then they tried to make it work, but because we were kids from another man, like he couldn't stay around, and so it always had that thing in the back of me of, why couldn't you just get over it? Why couldn't you just love me the way I was and not have to deal with all the rest of the stuff? And so do you think that that's something common with kids that walk through divorce?
Like them questioning, like, why couldn't they stay?
Yeah, or like, was it my fault? Did I cause it? You think so?
Well, because like some of my friends I used to have, they went through like divorces with their parents and they felt some type of way. They weren't mad, but they were like upset. But I think I'm not really like upset that it happened because I'm glad that she's out of a relationship that she, one, shouldn't have been in, and two, didn't want to be in, and that she found somebody who takes care of her. But I think I have more anger towards my dad over my mom because just of everything that happened. Like, I don't understand how like something like that could happen and then just say that it's my fault when I wasn't even there. Right.
Yeah, and I think that's something we as adults, anybody watching, can learn is, me and my husband will go through moments and to be careful and to be cautious of the words that we say. And maybe in a moment, your dad saying something he said or your mom saying something, and we don't realize the way the kids pick up on it because they don't understand. Like, you weren't there. You didn't hear the whole ins and outs and see the relationship active and working. And so to understand something that you don't understand and why it couldn't work is really big, to make your brain process around. But then for us as adults to turn around and try to explain it to you, but in a way that it makes it feel like it's your fault. That's where we as adults come in and have to stand up and say, it's not my intentions. That's not. And I'm sure if your dad was here, and I know your mom would say, hey, that was never my intention to make you feel like it was your fault. But still, here we are because we're kids. We're vulnerable. We want our mom and dad to be together, right?
Yeah.
We just want it to look like a family is supposed to look, and it doesn't. But I want to encourage you. Like I know your mom well enough, and the story that she told last week. No, it's not your fault. And I want to encourage those that are watching. If your parents have been through divorce, that even if they've told you it's your fault, it's not really your fault. Like, what did you do it to? You know, like, well, it's so bad that you did it too that would cause that. So I want you to be encouraged that that's not. We can let that go, but still talk through it and process through it. Absolutely. So how was it like growing up and a little bit more when your stepdad came in, or when they were just dating, because they dated like a year or so before like they got married? How was that meeting? Like, what was it like meeting him and getting to know him?
It was like, I'm not even gonna lie,
Yeah.
it was so weird.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I mean, because I've met my dad's girlfriends, but it wasn't like anything like that, because I'm like, this girl isn't gonna stay, because every couple weeks he would have a new girl and they would come into the picture, and then I would get attached to them, they would leave, and it was just like, I was like, there's no like way that this guy's staying. So I mean, like I don't have anything to like look forward to with you.
Yeah.
And then my mom, she worked at Starbucks, and she would work on the weekends, and I would stay with my stepdad, and we would go to the mall, and we would just go shopping around. I think that's when I found out that I have a shopping addiction, was because he took me shopping every Saturday. But we would just go shopping, and then we would come home, and my mom would be home that night, and I would show her everything I got. And she's just always been so like peppy about it. Like, she's always been like, even if she does not find it interesting, she will act like she finds it interesting. Right. And I guess that just like, as a kid, that made me happy, because I mean, it could be like a pair of socks that I found, and I'm just like so happy about it. And she's over the moon about it too. Yeah. But I mean, it was weird at first. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I eventually wanted my mom and my dad to get back together and to find their way back together, because I mean, every kid wants their parents to stay together. But he stayed. He's still here.
And we're okay with him? We're okay with him.
At first, we were a little hesitant. But
right. Which is understandable, because like you said, every kid wants their mom and dad to be together. But I think as you grow, you realize the happiness of your mom and the joy. I
wouldn't want it any other way.
Right. And it speaks to him being that constant, right? Being that steadiness, where in the other situation, it was never that constant, but being able to see the difference of relationships, of what a constant relationship looks like, what a faithful relationship looks like, even when it's hard, even when your kid really doesn't want me to stay here, doesn't really want me to be here, I'm still going to hang out and I'm still going to hang around. And that he was intentionally spending time with you, right? Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
And then one day he asked me, he was like, you care if I marry your mom? I was like, you ain't doing that. Like, I don't see you doing that. So why are you even asking me? We went to the ring place, and we picked out the ring and this and that. And then he was like, well, I'll make you a deal. If you don't tell her, I'll get you another thing at this store. My store was Books A Million.
Okay.
And it wasn't books.
Oh, gotcha.
But it was like the little like figurines and stuff.
Gotcha.
And he's like, if you don't tell her, I'll get you this. I was like, okay. Well, I didn't really know, like at 6 years old, like
what that was.
You can't tell your mom that she's about to get engaged, right? So we're like I walk into the bathroom while she's taking a shower. I'm like, oh, by the way, Mitchell has a ring for you. He's about to marry you.
No, I love it.
And she's like, what? I was like, Oh wait, I wasn't supposed to tell you.
Oh no.
And then my friend, we lived in a subdivision or whatever, and my friend came over and she asked me to come play, and I was like, okay. And I come back and they're engaged. I was like, see, I told you.
See, I told you, just nonchalantly, just doing it. I love it.
Yeah. But then they got married. I was the star of the show at the wedding, but I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's just
Love
the
it.
truth. But then my sister came along, and I did not want a sibling.
No,
Like,
tell us about that.
yeah, I did not want my mom to have another kid because I wanted the attention. Like, I mean, I had the attention for my whole life. Like, she was a single mom. It was me and her. I didn't want that to get taken away. And I think that's why I was hesitant about my stepdad coming in, because I was like, no, it's me and her. Like, it shouldn't be you too. And this is really mean, but whenever my mom told me that she was pregnant with my sister, I was like, I'm throwing her out the window on the interstate.
Right. But I mean, you hit something just now. I want to talk about it, and which explains that it had always just been you and your mom. I mean, that was your constant, that was your steady place, and change is hard sometimes. Your mom spoke about that last week, about dealing with change, and dealing with change is hard and makes us put up our guards and put up our defenses. And this was a big change. Not only is he coming in, and while he wasn't taking your dad's spot, and he didn't take your dad's spot, in the heart of your mom, he was taking that spot. And even so young, you were able to see that. And then we're going to add another person that's going to take more of her heart. Like, yeah, that's big. And I would probably be mean it the same way. Be like, I don't have room for anybody else. All this space is mine.
Well, I mean, I was an only child for my whole life. Like, I was an only child for 9 years. I'm like, why are you sitting here and adding another kid now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, it's me. It should only be me. Like, why am I not like giving you enough love for you or whatever? Like, why do you want like another one and stuff? But I mean, now like looking back, I love her. I mean,
Y'all are complete opposites.
who?
You and Marley.
Oh, 1000%. Like, no.
I mean, your hair, your attitudes, your sass, like y'all are complete opposites, but y'all are so cute together. I love watching you guys together.
Yeah. I think at times, I am jealous of her because, I mean, she has her dad. She wakes up to him every morning. She goes to sleep. He's right there. And then mine, I have to beg him to be there. And at times that gets tiring and stuff. And I'm like, at times I give up to do it. Like, I don't want to have to fight for this so much. Like, you're the adult. Why are you not like trying?
Yeah. Do you think that that's something that's common in your generation? Like, because divorce is insane now. The rates of divorce.
Are high.
And I ask my kids all the time, let's just say this. Do you have any friends? Do you have more friends' parents that are divorced or more friends' parents who are married?
Divorced or separated.
Yeah. So it's just a thing of your generation that you guys just relate to.
Yeah.
And it's a way you guys connect and walk through it. Do you feel like you guys give each other a little more grace in the aspect of your feelings and your emotions?
No.
No? Why you think that?
Because, like, sometimes, I mean, everybody knows my parents are divorced. Like, I've said it and stuff, and they know my stepdad. They know I have a sister, like, stuff like that. But then again, the way I act isn't off of my emotion of my parents being divorced. Like, I act the way I act because that's just who I am.
Right.
But with them, like, some people are just like, they want all the light shine on them, and they want like everything handed to them. I will admit I have had stuff handed to me whenever I needed it. But there's just some other people who are just like, they need grace at times, but they also need like, no, you can't sit here and say this or do that.
Yeah.
Just because of this. And that.
Right. Sometimes we want to play the victim.
Yeah.
My mom and dad are divorced, so I should get this. I should do this. I should be able to act this way. Got you. Okay. So they have your sister, and you're not happy about it.
No.
And we grow to love her, right?
At times.
You love her. But I think it's interesting that you said that sometimes it feels unfair that she gets her dad and you don't.
And I mean, Mitchell's there for me,
right?
But he's not blood. He doesn't share the same blood as me, and it's like I want my dad under the same roof that I am under for whenever I go to sleep.
Right.
But then again, I don't feel safe with my dad, so at times I'm like, I want you here, and then I'm like, no, I don't feel safe with you, so why are you, like, I don't want you here for that reason. But I think it's just because he's my dad. I want him there, and I think I am so used to him being there emotionally and not physically. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Physically and not emotionally.
Right.
Because, like, that's all I've known, and that's all I've been used to.
Which in some instances is great. Sometimes I need you to be there with me emotionally. Sometimes I need you to be there with me physically. It's a beautiful thing when they're there together. And I think that's just the nature of any of us. Like, the Lord created us for a relationship, and it's just a desire to have that. These two people created you. Like, that is just naturally in you, and that will always be in you. Like, my real dad is dead. I've never met him. He's not breathing air. I'll never have that relationship. It doesn't make that ache still go away. I'm 46 years old and I still have that ache and that desire, even though I know that it will never happen. And so I want you to give yourself a little grace for that, because that's natural. I think anybody would rightfully say, man, I wish my mom and dad were together. I wish it was a beautiful family, because it doesn't happen so often in our society that we live in now, because marriage just go easily done away with in this generation. So let's walk into, like, you're becoming a teenager. What, if any, has that relationship, the marriage, the divorce, the new marriage, the sister, has any of that played on being a teenager, or just how's teenage life beginning to happen for you?
Right whenever I was a teenager, COVID happened. So, I mean, I was just at home, and I found my way through my phone, and I started watching TikTok, and I watched Charlie D'Amelio and Addison Rae, and those are my two. I don't think you would call it idols, but I think I did idolize them a lot, because I'm like, oh, I want to be like you. I want to look like you. And just, I mean, having a sister, wow,
Her
at
face.
times. It's rough at times, but then again, it's like, one day you're going to be my best friend. Like, I can see it now. Like, one day you will be my best friend, and we will only have each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I kind of have to get used to you.
Yeah. I mean, because the reality is one day mom and dad's going to be gone, right? And it's just going to be you and her in the world. And you guys will find your way with spouses and other kids and stuff. But she will only be the person that you carry blood with, right?
Yeah.
Let's back up to COVID, because you guys lived through COVID. I lived through COVID, but I went to work. But your generation was the first generation that walked through COVID. School looks different. Friendships look different. Talk to me about COVID during those years that you were in it.
It started when I was in 5th grade. That's whenever lockdown happened. And I remember in class or whatever, we used to watch CNN 10. And they would have like these things in China and stuff saying that there's this big disease. And I am the person when it comes to other things, I start hyperventilating. Like if it's like something that's going to happen to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have to get away from it. So I asked my teacher, I was like, that's not coming to us, right? She's like, no, that's not coming to us. I was like, okay, good. Next week.
Little did we know.
Next week, we get okay, we're out of school for 2 weeks. I was like, out of school for 2 weeks? That's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't have to see these teachers. I don't have to be in school with the people I don't really like. Like, I don't have to be here. And then little did I know that 2 weeks turned into a year and a half, something like that.
Right.
Whenever I went back to school, I kept in touch with my friends because, I mean, I got a phone for Christmas that year. So then again, I could text my friends and I would be like, hey, you want to hang out here and here and here? Because this is when it wasn't really like serious.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it first started getting serious, I remember going to my aunt's and we couldn't go into her house. And I couldn't go into her house for a couple months. And I was like, I miss inside your house. Mm-hmm. But we went over there and we ate food on her back patio and we just talked about just how life was and stuff. But I don't think we've ever been as close as my aunt as we are now. Mm-hmm. But we went over there and stuff. And then a couple weeks later, we went back to school. Well, when we went back to school, it was A and B day. Like certain people go this day, certain people go that day. And lo and behold, the day I went, I had no friends.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, how am I about to get through this day with nobody to talk to and stuff like that? I found my way. We had to wear masks, and I got in trouble because I didn't want to put on my mask because I was like, I can't breathe in this.
You were
thing.
not alone. Lots of us got in trouble.
I was like, I can't.
I got kicked out of Ross
thing.
one day.
Well, then COVID slowly started dying down. I think it fully dialed down like mid 7th grade year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're in COVID, kind of trying to make friends, trying to not make friends. Some of our friends are coming back. Yeah. We're just doing the teenage year, 7th, 8th grade, somewhere around there. So what happens next in life?
8th grade revival happened.
Okay. Let me pause because we've done this a few times. Your stepdad was here, your mom was here. Revival hit our little bitty town. If you're watching for the first time, we have a small town. A guest pastor was supposed to be at a smaller church here in our area for a week. A week turned into a year or so. And God just radically changed our city and our towns. Teenagers, young, old alike. Revival set in our town for a little bit, and you are a product of that a little bit. So tell us about revival.
At first I did not go because, well, I'm gonna back it up a little bit. Whenever I was 9, I got saved because I just thought, I was like, okay, that's what I need to do. That's what my mom is. That's what my friends are. Like, I have to do that. The feeling was there, but it wasn't a relationship. Mm-hmm. But then whenever revival came, I got saved November 21st.
Almost. Today's what, the 16th? Yeah. So your anniversary soon. Your heavenly birthday, whatever. Yeah. Right. So you got saved.
I got saved, and they were preaching on like hell and how he was describing hell. I was like, oh my gosh, like I gotta turn around like ASAP. Like mm-hmm. I gotta get this done. And I went. That was the first night I went. My mom went like a week or two before me. Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, we've always went to church. Like me and my mom. My stepdad just kind of tagged along at times. And then after revival, he started actually going.
Let me ask you, your mom got saved a couple weeks before you. Did you see a change in her? Was there a difference? Is there anything that you can see, hey, something's different? Or were you sure just not really sure what was going on?
I didn't really know like what everything was. Mm-hmm. Like, to be honest, I didn't really like I knew of heaven and hell, and I knew that Jesus died for our sins and Satan was bad, but that's all I really knew. Mm-hmm. But then I got saved, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. like I'm going to heaven now? Like, this is nice.
Right.
And I was like, I'm happy. I'm good. like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, let's rock and roll.
And so we start ninth grade. We're in high school. How was high school for you?
I was scared. Like the night before, I like had a panic attack almost because I was like, I'm not going. Like I can't go. And my mom's like, well, you kind of have to go because I mean it's school.
Okay,
so
it's school.
You kind of have to go. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I go, and at first I still have my friends from 8th grade. And then gradually they start finding their way. But I'm just kind of like, I just stood there.
Right.
Like I felt like I was in like a pause, and they were just running around me.
Right.
Well, they find their way and they make these big groups, and I like connected with a girl that was a senior, and she was kind of like my person at school or whatever, and she was there for me when I needed her. And I'm so glad that, I mean, at least I had somebody at school, because I started losing all my friends because they would go do things that I didn't agree with and that I wouldn't really want to do.
Our hearts to Jesus, and we are making these decisions to change. So you're talking about losing some friends, and was there ever a moment that you looked at it and was like, man, I'm losing all my friends. I don't know if I want to do this Jesus thing. Was there ever that moment?
I wouldn't really say like there was that moment, but there was that timeline of it. Like it was like I can't do it. Like I can't sit here and lose all my friends over something that I can't even see.
Got you.
So it was like I was having second thoughts about it, but I was still going to church and I was still doing this and doing that. But there was times that I questioned my life that I was doing, because I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I'm not ready to give up my friends yet. But, I mean, they left. I mean, they're still there, but they left. But, I mean, I'm glad I didn't do what I was going to do.
Right. Because Jesus has a better price, right? Jesus has a better reward for you. I want to talk, if you want to, and your Aunt Michelle's coming in a couple of weeks to tell her story. And so we're not going to tell a bunch of it. But you lost an uncle in the middle of all of this. What was that like for you? And you don't have to go into details of his whole issue and stuff, but what was that like, losing someone in such a tragic way at that moment? What did it affect you? How were you in that moment?
I was close to him. Like, I mean, that was like, we would see him a lot and stuff like that. But I think what really like hurt me the most, it wasn't even that he passed away. I think it was seeing how bad it hurt my mom.
Right.
And how my mom was so just like broken. And I mean, I'm not even going to lie, it scared me because I've never seen my mom like that. I mean, the way that she came home that night, like I've never seen her act that way, and it scared me because I'm like, this is bad. Like, you're this heartbroken over this. And I mean, like, seeing her like that, I think that's what really got to me. And then thinking about how Bella and Juju were gonna be, got to me.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. I had an aunt pass away when I was in 9th grade the same way, and just thinking about my cousins and how they were going to walk and how the context of our family changed in so many regards, in so many ways. And, tragic deaths affects the whole family, not just the individuals that are there, but when you're as close as you guys are and as we were, it affects different aspects of our life and things like that. And where are we at with Jesus now? Like what's happening in our life? Was there any defining thing that you were like, okay, I've gotten saved, I'm walking this Jesus thing. Was there anything significant that you've seen Jesus do in your life and change your life?
I don't even really think it was my life. I think it was my aunt's life.
Okay.
But like, cause like how she like acted after everything, I was like, wow, like if Jesus can do that for you, like I wonder what he could do for me. Like, I wonder how he can help me in situations if he can help you in that situation.
Right.
Like, I mean, I guess I would say giving me my strength to wake up every day helped me. Because, I mean, going through high school, not sure of who my friends were, yet he gave me the strength to wake up every day and go through it and to get home and to be okay with everything that's happening.
Right. You got me almost in tears over here. It's amazing because, we as adults, we live our life, and we think we have no influence on the younger generation. But to hear you say that, like watching your aunt, who's close to my age, walk through the hardest part of her life that she's ever walked through, and the grace of God, like that being an example to you of the power of Jesus, like that's beautiful. Your aunt's probably going to cry when she sees this because, that's a powerful thing that our testimony can affect somebody's life and we don't even know it.
Yeah, she is a trooper through everything, and I think one of the reasons why I gotten so close to her over these last couple months, I was close to her before, but like seriously got close to her, is because she's like a role model to me. And my mom always jokes like, you're always like your aunt, like y'all act just alike. And I'm like, that's funny. But I really do think she's like my role model, because if all that can happen to somebody like her, like she went through it and she is okay.
Right.
Like, how are you okay after that? Like, you wouldn't be okay after that if you didn't have God.
Yeah.
If you did not have God, I don't think she would be where she is today.
Right. I agree. Absolutely. So where are you and Jesus at now?
I didn't see him. Like, I gradually got farther and farther away because of that situation. And then losing my friends, I didn't have them, so I didn't have anyone to really talk to.
Right.
And I guess it was just known in my house that you believe in God, we go to church, like nothing else comes before that. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, okay, so I have to do this, I have to do that. But how is that helping me? Like, I didn't feel like the excitement, or like I didn't wake up on Sunday and be like, oh, let's go get ready for church. Let's do this, let's do that. No, I wanted to stay home from church and I just wanted to lay in my bed and watch TV, because I didn't have the relationship that I wanted to. But then, shout out to Revival Temple, then we started going there. And we started going there. My mom went through Deliverance, and then she was not wanting to do it at first, because she was like, I don't want nothing to do with demons. Don't talk about them around me.
We talked about that last week. Yeah.
She was like, don't talk about it around me. And then she did it, and then she woke up the next morning and was like, we have to go to Revival Temple. And then my stepdad, he was just like, he was a little messed up at church. Like, he was kind of going through it.
Yeah, he shared a couple weeks ago about it. It was interesting.
And then them two went through it, and then it was me. And I felt like they were teaming up on me and stuff like that. And then I was leaving a friend's house, and Mr. Brian and Miss Amanda came to my house, and they were like, they just want to talk to you. I was like, okay. So I start freaking out on the way home. Like, my friend lives 5 minutes from me. I was like, so you're telling me those riders were pulling up to my house? Like, you're not giving me any time or anything.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And we go in and they talk to me, and then I go through that night. But then I went through Deliverance. But it's hard to go through Deliverance because like you can't really talk about it to just anyone. Like you can't be like, yeah, I'm struggling with this, so I think it might be this spirit or this spirit. Like I can't just go up to my friend and be like, listen, girl,
let me tell you
the thing that I went through last night. Right. Like I can't just sit there and go up to my friend and be like, yeah, I just went through deliverance and, like I feel better now.
Right.
But then this year happens and we're still going to RT. That's Revival Temple, by the way. But we're still going there, and I start connecting with the youth because my mom made me go on a Wednesday night, and I was not a big fan of that.
I know. I heard all about it.
I don't like being pushed to do anything, and I'm not a very big social butterfly.
Yeah. Meet new people. We don't want to meet new people.
Like it, and it was the worst time too. We have this thing called circles, and we have to go around the circle and talk about stuff in our life. And I'm like,
okay, Jesus.
I was like, you can meet this on the first day. But I go every Wednesday that I can, that I don't have basketball. And I love it, but I'm not still really a big fan of circles.
That's okay.
I mean,
but you still go and you talk, and God's doing stuff in your life.
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome.
But then I went to Alabama a couple weeks ago, and I was struggling with stuff over the summer because I was struggling with body images and feelings of my dad coming back and stuff like that. So it just gradually built up and stuff like that. Well, a couple weeks ago, we go to Montgomery, Alabama, and we are there for Tucker to go through deliverance because he needed it.
And Tucker's her sweet little boyfriend that we love. Don't have that face, sweet Tucker.
Well, then he goes through it, and then my mom and my aunt called me outside and was like, I think you should go through it. And I was like, what?
I've been through deliverance already. I don't know. You need to do that for.
What are you talking about? Right. Like, no. And then they were like, we see your pain, we see your struggle, like, do it. And I was like, let me think about it.
Right.
So I go through deliverance there. I felt better afterwards. A lot came out, by the way.
Well, your mom and I talked about last week when she walked through her deliverance thing of, a lot of people think that deliverance has to be like this throwing up and screaming and throwing things. And some of that happens because the spirit world is crazy, and we are spirits living in there. But at the same time, like your mom and I talked about, sometimes just a letting go of those feelings, those emotions, separating ourselves from those thought patterns, those body image issues, those lies of the enemy, the things that our dad has said that's got our heart feeling all twisted and stuff. Deliverance is just as simple as that sometimes, of just letting that go and letting God fix the way we think and fix the way, like shift. Last week, your mom and I were saying like going from one spot to like totally turning another way, walking through that deliverance with letting the walls down, with the Holy Spirit operating in our lives. And so I just wanted to share that with our listeners, that deliverance doesn't always have to be scary and crazy and creepy, kind of like exorcist moments, even though there are moments like that sometimes. It's not all that deliverance is. Deliverance is literally coming from bondage into our freedom.
I mean, if you're trying to go through it, I'm sure my aunt and my stepdad would be thrilled to do it. Because my
She's
stepdad
promoting.
loves
I love it.
Loves.
All right, so we go through deliverance, and where are we at now?
After that, I go back to school, and I'm like, wow, like my eyes are being opened up, because there's so many people around me who are just not right. And I can see that they're not right. And like, I'm like, I want to help you, but I don't know how. And
talk about that, because I want to go a little deep. Okay. What are some things that your generation goes through that you see that maybe maybe we as adults don't see because we're not at school with you, they don't talk to us? What are some things that you were seeing in the school and in your friends?
I still struggle with it like now, but it's being set apart and not like having this big group of people and getting all these invitations to stuff that you shouldn't really go to that are like worldly things. But yet it's still just the thought in the back of the head that's like, you're my friend, that's an event at school, like let's go, let's do it and stuff. But I think it's just so many people claim to know God and doing this, do that, but they live in the world, and it's like, I think what a lot of people do is they say they're Christians just to say it around people, but then behind closed doors they don't know like God and stuff, and they don't do the things that they should do. But yet still to this day, I don't think I've truly found the friends I'm supposed to have.
Right.
Like, I don't think I have the people in my life that I'm supposed to have yet. And I mean, that's fine.
It's a process.
If the people in my life aren't supposed to be there, they'll go through me with the season and then they'll walk away.
Right.
But I think the hardest thing is not knowing like your friends and then having to be set apart. Because I mean, being set apart, it's like you can't do these things and you can't do that, but you're supposed to live by the word of God. And it's like, okay, hold up, like let me do that, but also let me live my life,
right,
and stuff like that. So I mean, I guess it's just a struggle to follow God and like be around certain people.
Right. And I think that's an age-old issue for all of us. Like, I remember being in high school and I was the Christian girl, right? I was the one that they'd invite to parties and try to sneak drinks into just cause, But I also was able to continue living the life before the Lord, where there would be people that would respect me and not do that. And so I want to encourage you. You just keep loving Jesus, because at the right time, he's going to bring the right people in your life. And there may be people in your life, and even as an adult, there are people in our life that we don't necessarily do life together with, but the Lord may have them in your life for you to minister to them. Yeah. And that's hard. I know it's hard being like, I want to be a teenager and I want to have fun. I want to do the things, but also learning how to do that within the boundaries of the Lord and pursuing the Lord. But as long as you pursue the Lord and push forward in that, he'll set the right people at the right time, and he'll give you the strength and the endurance to do that. He'll line up the right people at the right time.
I was known to be the Christian girl this year or last year as well, because I mean, Tucker, before we like actually started dating, he was like, I knew you as Miss Two Goody Shoes or something.
Miss Goody Two Shoes, yeah.
And Miss Going to Church, loving girl and stuff. And I was like, well, thank you.
Thank you. That's an honor.
I would take that as a compliment.
Like, wear that badge proudly. I have preteens, and my kids aren't the popular kids at school. They don't play the athletes. They're not athletes. They don't play the sports. They don't do the things. But I have to be okay with that as a parent saying they're not going to be invited to all the things. They're not going to be involved in everything. And if I look back at it, sometimes that's a blessing. Sometimes that's a great thing that they're not included in some of the things that are happening, because I want them to grow up as men and women of integrity, and maybe being part of those crowds and following the leads of others will keep them from getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a big sports team at my school, and I still feel like at times that's not where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
Like, I mean, at times I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, I need to get out of here because people want it or stuff like that. And I mean, it just depends on what's actually happening. And I mean, if I don't get invited to everything, it hurts at times, but then again, I'm like, okay, God, I wasn't meant to be there. Like,
Right.
thank you, but I'm still like upset. And I guess I have to learn how to thank him in the process of me being upset.
Right. And see the bigger picture and see the
Yeah.
bigger thing, which is not always easy. Even as adults, like when we don't get invited to things, we still
Yeah.
can deal with. She smiled at her mom. We still can deal with those things when we don't get invited, kind of thing. All right, so let me ask you a few questions. You ready? Some rapid fire questions. It's easy. Do you have a favorite verse in the Bible? You don't have to tell me the reference, or just a verse that just pops into the top of your head, or one that you've read like recently.
Right now I'm reading Colossians.
Okay.
I'm not really a big fan of it.
No, why not? Why are we not a big fan of Colossians?
Because it's like, it's just the letter and stuff. And
Okay.
I think it's not really like the big ones like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and
But
stuff
it's
like
still
that.
got good stuff in it.
Yeah, it does. But it's just so short. Like, it's
I know,
like,
but Pastor Brad says it doesn't have to be long to be strong. All right. Well, is there one that you do like, or a verse that you can remember off the top of the head that you do like? If not, you can say
Philippians
that.
4:13.
Which is?
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Do you know what else? Your sister, and that's the verse that she quoted. That's her verse that she quoted. So
Yeah,
maybe you're a little more alike than what you think.
a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right. Do you have a favorite story in the Bible that you've heard that you like?
Probably King Saul.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Saul. He was a good king for a little while.
Yeah.
He made some bad decisions, but that's
Little
okay. We all make some bad decisions. When you get to heaven, who's the first person you want to talk to? I guess besides Jesus, maybe. I mean, or it could be Jesus.
I definitely feel like John.
John the Baptist? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
Because, I mean, he did all these things for the people. And, I mean, he's just a big person that people know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess I'll just have to wait in line.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, what do you think? Because I have my phone set up here, but our generation didn't grow up with phones and social media and so much technology in front of us. I know that technology plays a big influence and a big role in your generation, but do you think that it plays a negative or a positive role in most of your generation?
Negative.
Can you explain like some areas?
Like, for instance, TikTok. You see all these girls on there and they look like they have their lives together. They look like they are just living the best life, and you're like, whoa, I want that. I want that. Like, I have to have this if I want to live like her and to have the life like she has, because, I mean, she's pretty and she has everything. So, I mean, I guess it could just be like you're trying to be like everybody else and how they are on there, when in reality they struggle with the same things you possibly might struggle with,
Right.
or even bigger things. Because, I mean, a lot of people see them, especially like famous people. Like, half the time they may be hurting and they don't even show it because they have all this money and they can cover it up and stuff like that.
Yeah, they show us the highlight reel,
Yeah.
the good stuff. Yeah. All right. Do you think that it could be a positive in your generation in any way?
Google's the positive.
Google's the positive. I love it. I love that. Taylor. I love that so much. All right, let's talk about relationships with teenagers. How's the relationship thing with teenagers these days?
It is hard. It is very hard, especially if you aren't trying to be like some of the girls in high school.
Okay.
Like, before me and Tucker started dating, I sat him down. I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, we're not. Like, I'm saving myself for marriage.
Right.
Like, I'm standing strong. Like, we're not doing this. And he said, okay.
Right.
But in other relationships, some girls feel pressured and they feel like they have to do this for him to stay.
Right.
And to be honest, if he ain't staying because you ain't doing that, he ain't the one for you.
Say it again, Tay.
Say it louder for the people in the back, please.
That's what I love. I love that. That's so true.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not staying with you just because you're not doing that with him, I mean, he's not the one for you. And I was put in that situation Friday. I had to explain that to a girl Friday because she was struggling and stuff. And I was like, girl, listen, don't try to run it back with your ex. Try and run it to Jesus. That's and go lay it at the cross.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, I'm here. But I mean,
that's great advice, though.
Yeah. I guess it's just hard for some girls to sit there and be like, no, I have to do this for him to stay because I really like him. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I really like Tucker and I haven't done nothing with him.
Right. And I think too can be the dynamic of what home looks like, right? Because if you didn't have that mom and that stepdad that was constant and bringing you to church and keeping you involved and praying over you and ministering together as a family, like if you didn't have that atmosphere, not that it doesn't happen when that exists, but it makes it a little harder.
It does, because it makes harder for temptation to come in, because I mean, I pray with my family almost every night. We pray as a family, and my stepdad likes to make me pray, and
that's so great.
It pushes me, and he laughs at me every time I pray. But
it's good.
I think 'cause I get off task, but it's just praying as a family and having your family around you and going to church. I think that helps a lot because it helps you be more set apart from it, and to see the things that other people are struggling with, and to see that that's not like what I want to do.
Right. Yeah. And I think it helps too, maybe even at the end of the day, when it's been a long day of trying to be set apart and it's been really hard and it's been really frustrating and maybe we fail a little bit, that we still can come home to a family that's going to love us through it and give us the grace through it.
I know, like, if I'm having a rough day at school, I could just come home after practice and stuff and be like, oh, what a day. And I just talk about it. Yeah. And then they're there to share their opinion, and then they're just, let's pray.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a constant thing that's like, when we're struggling, we just pray. And it's just like been like known in my head that when I am struggling with something or I need something, I just go and I pray.
Right. That is the biggest thing that I tell people all the time when people always ask me, like, why you love Jesus so much? Why you do this thing? And it's because I had a praying mom, like, and not just a mom that's like, oh, I'll pray for you and pat me on the back and go, but like my mom, like your stepdad and your mom would make me pray, would make my brother pray. She would pray out loud. Like I heard what prayer sounded like. I didn't have to guess, how do you talk to the Lord? I didn't have to guess, what does it sound like to talk to Jesus? I just heard my mom do it, and that gave me the courage. Well, I'm not going to sound crazy, because she didn't sound crazy to me. Like, she just sounded like she was talking to Jesus. And I'm like, she can talk to Jesus, then I can just freely talk to Jesus. And I want that for my kids. And so I love that your parents do that. And I think your generation would be better off so much more if we had more moms and dads that prayed out loud. Not just, I'm going to pray for you in my prayer closet, write you on my little list, and we're going to pray at church, but let's pray out loud together as a family. I love that. It's so great. Do you have anything else to add?
I think one thing that I would say to my generation, guys, just listen. If you're struggling, you have this little tiny book, and you can go get it at a bunch of bookstores or even like random stores. If you're struggling, start in John and read at least one chapter a night. That's what I started with, and now I am reading like 3 or 4 a night, because that's just what I find like my enjoyment in, and I look forward to reading it before I go to sleep. So that made me grow closer in my walk by just reading one chapter a night for a couple weeks, and then I gradually went up. And then if I find it interesting, I won't put the book down until I look at the clock and I'm like, whoa, I need to go to sleep.
Right.
At least read a chapter a night, because that will help you more than you even know. and then pray before you go to sleep, and don't just like give your thanks, but like pray.
Talk to him.
Like, yeah, like it's almost like me and you. I'm having a conversation with you right now. So, I mean, I guess that's what I've been doing lately. I've just been having a conversation and just like expressing things that happen versus me going to my mom about it.
Right.
Or like going to talk to my friend and being like, girl, did you hear this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, Lord, listen to this.
Yeah.
I know you've seen it and I know it was in your plan, but just listen to this.
And that's exactly what prayer is. And that's what I tell people. Literally, it's just a conversation. The conversations that me and Jesus have sometimes, people would be like, oh, Lord, help us all. But again, he sees everything that happens. So we're not telling him anything new, but he wants us to talk about the way we feel about it and what we think about it.
I know. And I think it's funny, like how he knows everything that happened, and he knows like the second that I'm going to sneeze or the second that I'm going to cough, like he knows that. And it's like written down in the book.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so in like 2.5 seconds, she should be coming to lay down in her bed.
Right.
Like,
and he has the plans for us, plans to prosper us and give us peace and give us rest. So, well, thank you so much for being here. You did phenomenal.
Thank you.
It was so great. I can't wait to have you back. I want to get together with a whole bunch of teenagers and just talk with you guys about church and Jesus and your generation and struggles and have a little fun and let you guys teach us a few, a few things, a few words that make us cool and whatnot. So my daughter loves it. It's the favorite. She likes when I say skippity toilets. She likes those. She makes that face you make. I love it. Mostly because I like to embarrass her like I just did you. So
yeah, it's my mom.
Yeah. We taught your mom some really cute things.
She's old.
The face card was my favorite.
she came out to me and she was like, I just want to tell you, your face card never declined.
No, we taught her that.
and then like 5 seconds later, she was like, your face card is declining.
It's declining right now. Well, thank you so much. You have not declined. Your face card did not decline, nor did your spirit and your joy today. You did phenomenal.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for watching God's Coffee Call. It's been a little fun. It's been a little different, which is what we want here at God's Coffee Call. Again, I want to thank you for being with us. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and share this. Let's show Taylor some love by sharing this episode. I pray that it's ministered to you. If you are dealing with things, you're struggling with stuff, our inbox is open. Reach out to us. We have people standing by that want to pray for you. They want to walk through life with you and find freedom in all that you walk through and all that you do. And so I pray that your coffee is strong and that your heart is full and that you remember that he's got good plans for you no matter what. I love you. I'll see you next episode. Bye.